update on my criminally insane file. All right, first of all, I wrote something about Bismarck and Berserk yesterday. Today I wrote about, briefly, I mentioned Deborah Burke. I saw her during CDC or whatever the hell her job function is on Face the Nation in Crazy Town. All right, so now let's think about this. Okay, if we go back to Bimini, I don't know if it's BHI or BHMINI. There was a crossover event. I was taken to Bahamas, BAHAMAS, with Lou and Lynn. We stayed at a Club Med, but I had private extension, EXT, where my medic family, MEDIC, my cosmic children, met us in said dock station, off the dock, off the pier, I think, PIER or DOCK. I don't know what you call it down in that region. So now it was in the water was Alexander, of course, but we gave the 4-letter nickname of SVEN. That's his older, but same, but older. And then the name, the one who should not be named, because it's a cycle name that it didn't work for Antonin, and the two people that I never wanted to meet, the name Anthony didn't work for them either. So I said, just go on there was a gentleman, we have a staff member. He has he's older, he's got longer-ish, but like dark, and then it's like gray at this point, I think, and he had a goatee, and he had a clipboard, and he was trying to go through the nickname and roster to figure out what was wrong back then. So, because that was, again, in 1980s-ish, I was in the water in a full-piece, just little girl's bathing suit. They were going to teach me how to snorkel. Rhino, I called him Rhino, RHINO, was team lead. Now, on the one hand, I think, he looked like Johannes, which we gave Johannes the Eric because it was more Alexander and Sven's personality, which is a lighter, not so scary animal. But, Rhino was more like the professional team lead, right? Which of course I swam right to, because I'm just like, oh, you feel like home. I was like, can you be my dad? Like, I didn't want to leave. I said, this feels more like home in the water with the boys, being Benjamin, and Benjamin, I think Benjamin was there when we did a couple, because it was Sven and Johannes, made it, in proper visage genetics and genome. The problem was 2 of the children, it was reported I was going to have 4, and with the way that we were headed in scope, and 2 of the children were missing, so that was a problem right there, because I wanted, Rhino, but Vlad, VLAD, for distinction on the fuego and the temperament of the instrument in the water. I liked I felt safe with him. I said, on the dock with the man over there, I said, he doesn't feel like you feel safe. You feel, right? I said, he doesn't feel the same. I said, is that normal? Right? How do you answer that one, right? So now, there's that. Then I think, we moved to like the projector, and then all of a sudden Ben was there, but Ben's the only one who made it in. Dan didn't make it. Ben had a broken genome, GENOME, and that was because he had a beak and he wasn't his body is genome proper less the height. He was supposed to be 6'2", minimum Hitler requirement, but he only made it to maybe 5'8", 5'9" at the most. But his endo and his skeletal muscles seem appropriate, except on the lower extremities. He since birth he's had a little problem with stiffness and tightness of the. He tends to walk a little bit on his toes, but he's always looks like he's ready to run, like a track star in the blocks, ready to go. So let's think about this. So anyway, so in that visage, he was there as well. They swam with me for a little bit. It was almost like swimming with the dolphins, but swimming with mom. But the little girl and they called me the Bahama Mama, the little Bahama Mama, because we were on a torsion effect. I was in fourth Reich. They were still in third, and we were trying to figure out. Right, and then there was a teeter or titer. And we were trying to, teeter. Vlad was teetering, and then we were trying to figure out titer. But Johannes, we used the dial for the temperament. So that's why it was Eric at first, but he felt like Sven. I confirmed that for the task list gentleman on the dock with the goatee, that I have not ever seen his face. He was very handsome. I've never seen him before. And he said that he's a very high up official doctor, but we don't have such things in Candyland, so I don't know who wants to give a name to that. He's just part of my family, or documentation of the family. And he wouldn't hurt us, for sure. At least outside of my kids and myself, we had one person we could rely on that would stick up for us. And this sounds crazy, but we're the criminally insane family, right? And that's the funny thing. It's like, okay, so here's the thing. We're criminally insane, but you realize there's a part of Ukraine in like happy-go-lucky when they're not with fighting with Candyland. They're the leave me alone Candyland, like we are living heaven over here. I don't know how you messed that one up, right? But they're also from Crimea, I think. Is it I always get the spelling wrong because I think that we torsioned it just a little bit to know that like I was a minimal criminal, but that's subjective, right? They made me the subject of a mentally insanity case where the good Cyrillic and Germanic people had to fight the Britannia crazy lady in some crown teaching the Fawcett or Fossey and the the Burke kiddo that, right, hospital was the way to go because they were suffocating the children in America and they didn't know how to tell everybody. So let's keep the little girl from the Bahama Mama Bimini Project, like, locked in New York. No money, no food, no boys, no help. Hello. That's not going to work out for you, because I will tell the truth to everyone. All right, so I've got, so my whole thing is, if I was on the phone with Burke at 42, which is this visage and this broken whatever, and we'll just go with, I'm tattooed, so that's a problem, although it's actually turning out to probably be a better way to go. All right, so now in this version, we have COVID. Lots of people are dying. Nobody cares. It's been confirmed, supposedly. It's on the TV. I don't have straight phone calls to people, so whatever. I don't see people, whatever. So now, the El Paso guy, right? There's lots of Hispanics over there. More like Central American Hispanics, right? Okay. Guy, then they claim there's African Americans in Detroit. Right, okay, so now I heard there's some kind of National Guard fight over the ethnics, right? They always feel like, well, you don't like us or bill us higher because we're not white supremacy. No, actually, that's not the case. And here's the thing. The guy in Detroit keeps saying African-American. Now, what color African-American? Because last time I checked on the continent of Africa, there's a whole bunch of shades. Right. So why are you saying, are you talking like the Caribbean kids, or are you talking like, because I mean, it depends on what part of Africa you go. That's why we say usually stick with an island. Like some of the islands are strictly one shade of something or one dialect. It's easier to go with a tiny island of people than it is to go with a continent and say that they're all the same, because no, they're not. Especially not in this version of human. So the Detroit guy, I don't know what your name is. I think it's D. I didn't catch the rest of it. D-E-E. Right. I would be careful with that African American thing, because if you're in Detroit, that means you're in America, or you're in the 50 postage stamps of one union that's really fucking confused and really, really hurtful. And then I got the El Paso guy who's in the same union, who's complaining about Central Americans that transplanted themselves over there. They bought some freezers. I guess they were trying to buy freezers, spend money, tune down the amount of deaths. I don't know. Sounds like he was like, well, it sounds like extortion to me. I'm like, you know what sounds like extortion? I came here in 1980 myself. I'm alien genetics from terraforming elsewhere. Like, figure a different planet. Like, I come from, like, say, Mars, and I'm here on Earth with you. Right. I said, what really seems criminally insane to me is the fact that I get here, I'm asking questions at 3 and 4 of the deadbeats that I woke up to. I really don't blame them, because they did not realize to look around the fish tank and notice. I mean, like when they got there, it was just a little algae on the walls. And while they were busy checking out rocks on the bottom of the fish tank floor and like picking them up, going, oh, look how pretty the colors are. And then, right, they didn't notice how the light in the fish tank was starting to go out, and it was starting to get really covered with algae. Right, yeah, I got that. Okay, so that's what my humans were like when I got here, because they're not from where I'm from. I have one purpose, and it's to have children and to get with the other man that traveled from, let's say, Mars to Earth with me. Yeah, he's born somewhere else. That's why I had to ask a few humans, like, where do you call on this rotary dial system to find your betrothed, like the star travelers that you came to Earth with for happy ever after family. They made some Disney princess movies. I mean, I thought like people would know, but my rock, the ones that looks at the rocks and put them down, they're called Gunders. Like, they had no idea. Oh, yeah, Cataroos weren't so keen on knowing anything either. All right, so now anyway, so what's really crazy to me is I have to go now one generation up to my grandmother. I said to her, I was like, listen, I was like, Grandma, you know what seems really crazy? She's like, I never owned a car. She says, I know where you're going with this. She says, I didn't have money for a car. I never bought a car. She's like, I only drive in a car when your mom asks me or I have to go to the doctor. That's it. She's like, I took the bus the whole time before you got here. And I was like, right, I forgot. Right, yeah, never drove a car either till he got to America. So I said, but here's the thing. I said, all those cars, when the engine and the motor is running, out the tailpipe is fumes, F-U-M-E-S, like fume, but it's out the tailpipe of the engine, and it's toxic. The medical doctors that work in the hospitals, they go to school. They're taught things. One of the things they're taught is don't put a human in a car in a confined space with the engine running on a small ratio, because it'll kill them. It'll asphyxiate them and they'll suffocate to death. Between the carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide relation in your human environment. Right, okay, so now all of those incredibly intelligent creatures that went to some kind of medical board training, there's lots of them. You practice on people every day. You practice. I know you practice. You call it a medical practice because you really don't know what you're doing. Got it. So now you practice on the humans, and then you fail to inform the humans not to sell the toxic fume creating vessels or vehicles, because the carbon dioxide monoxide relation, even in large containment unit, being that there is a ceiling between an atmosphere, a bubble, a glass ceiling, to your human, if you're on the ground, all the way up in the sky, look at that, between us and the sun, there is like a barrier. So that's your ceiling for your garage theory, which is in actuality a factual matter. So how, as a medical professional, could any of you allow mass manufacturing of vehicles that move people, for no reason, by the way, in massive quantity, and have tailpipes? And then, on top of that, you're like, oh, well, then I'll fix it. We'll just build more hospitals with the money. No. But you're still in the same environment, and there's nobody's coming to give you more oxygen. What happens when the whole medical professional goes down? Because now they can't even breathe. And in monoxide poisoning, you start to lose your memory. You start to forget why you even were picking rocks up and looking at them in the first place. You forget, like, your kids' names, your family, That sounds like punishable and like criminally. I mean, that sounds like a meal. That sounds like MEAL, like you were like, just pile it on, I got it, and I'm gonna eat the whole thing myself. That sounds like an executable offense to me, that you would purposely push humans into suffocating themselves unknowingly, while you have medical professionals around the union who knew better and who were told not to promote an industry that was going to cause Candyland to break further, because then we will harm your unbeknownst, and we're not going to we'll round the doctors up, because that's how useless you are. Did you forget in your fumation? You attack each other as humans in the dumbest fucking ways. And then it's like, one little girl comes and she's like, no, I just want to get out of the Union of America. I want to hang out over in the Union of Smart Things in Europe. And I want to forget that you in this section of the crazies ever exist in the nut house. Right, yeah, I'll call you from over there. But instead, not only did you take away my education, you took away my ability to even cognitively remember or speak in an intelligent manner, and you locked me in an abandoned, quarantined New York, where I had no access to people of importance. There was no National Guard, there was no Army, there was no Navy, there was no Team SEALs, there was no sealed envelopes, there was no CIA, there was no KGB, there was no anything intelligent, there was no mafia, there was no mob, whether it be Irish, Italian, or Russian, I don't really care, you're all my best friends if you hang out with Vlad. I'm part of the Hitler Project, Hitler. Americans don't even know what that fucking means. So now, I am just curious, when it comes to the criminally insane, it is the highly educated by institution and university with medical board certification of how crazy they fucking are, who allowed increase in automobile production in order to fuel their institutions teaching medical stuff to the next level of criminal and promoting massive asphyxiation for the entire human population. And then when the good men and women of somewhere smart, like say Sweden, says, we really need to cut down on this pollution, you haven't even addressed it, they're just like, the Americans are like, you stay out of this, I'm making money and I'm a superhero. Can we just have our Bahama mama? We just want to Right, okay, I mean, it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So now let's think about this. So I just want to get out of New York. I don't care how many die. I really don't care how many you leave. There is nothing that is intelligent enough. I have found, oh wait, Joe. I will take Joe and Craig. My cousin Craig is handsome brimstone, and I've got Joseph, I got Cup of Joe over here. He seems like Bursa perfect for like Eye of the Storm. Yes, he is. Built like a perfect male in the testosterone project. And so now, but not, here's the thing. See, he's built perfect testosterone project, but he is not in competition with Sven, with Johannes, and with Vlad. Good? Yeah? Right. Because we have friends in every color. But I want to be very clear on where right, because I know the ones with the venereal disease in their eye over in Corridor, Korea, get themselves all riled up like little monkeys on the side with tickets in their hands going, ah! That's what Polynesians look like to me. I swear to fucking Christ.